Hey guys, welcome to the new video. In the last video we had seen that we took the steering rack to get overhauled. So now Mr. Ahmad has rectified this steering rack, overhauled it, and now you can see how stable this tie rod end is, as well as this. He had changed the bearings over here. Then he has machined out some HDPE plastic bushing and replaced them in this area as well as this, replenished with fresh grease inside it. The boot covers has been clipped back with metal tie. So let's get on with the install. We need to install the steering rack onto the subframe and then install it back into the car. Let's see how it goes. Now I have somewhat aligned the subframe to the chassis of the car, where the bolt will be in its position. I will jack the subframe with the help of my jacks, and let's see how it goes. So now we have just kept the subframe hanging into the chassis with 2 threads on each side. Now let's put the union joint, which is here, like this. Now let's lift it up again and then tighten it over here. Now let's tighten up this nut with the help of an extension, 19 mm. Now it's time to connect the lower arm to the wheel hub with the help of this nut and bolt, which will go over here. Now that the main subframe bolts are being tightened up, also the steering rack is connected to the wheel hub and the lower arm is connected to the wheel hub, link rod connected to the suspension. Now let's go and put the union joint near the steering column. Now that the steering rack has been connected to the steering wheel over at the union joint, let's go below the car and tighten up all the bolts that we have yet to be tightened. Let's go. Now let's go on to the other side and do the same for this side. So now let's put the engine mount, the lower engine mount, where it connects the subframe to the engine to keep the engine steady. Let's go. Okay, so now that whole assembly is tightened and engine mount connected, lower arm connected, steering rack connected, link rod connected, and the steering wheel is also connected. So now it is remaining with the very important thing to install the lock pin onto the steering rack ball joint. You can see the steering rack is connected to the wheel hub, which is rotating always. It creates vibrations and other resonant frequencies where this crown nut can become loose, and which can be very dangerous if your vehicle cannot steer, and which can lead to accident. So it's always important to put this lock pins and lock them up like this. Also on the other side. So now that the car has been completed with the steering rack overhaul and fitting, let's take the car for test ride. So now that the car has been completed with the steering rack overhaul and fitting, let's take the car for test ride. Speed breaker, it doesn't make any noise, abnormal noise. Let's go on to the rough roads. It's very hard to find rough roads in Dubai, but let us see if there is something called as kacha over here. Traffic, and my fuel is also low. I think I should order Kafu. I won't be reaching petrol pump anytime sooner. Patrol. Now that the steering alignment has been completed, there is no noise in the steering when we are going onto the rough roads. The car still goes onto the right side, because as the person who was doing the alignment told me, alignment was proper, but the car was hit from front on the right side from the previous owner of the car, and the support where the suspension mounts onto the body of the car has been having a little bit negative camber, so the car is tending to go towards the right. Now that's the update. Now we have come on the petrol pump to fill the petrol. Special 50. So the price in Dubai for petrol is 2.73 as of 12th March, and we usually put 95 special. I'll show you how the car performs on rough roads in some time. It is very hard to find rough roads, unpaved roads in Dubai. It is very hard to find these roads. So the only rough roads I can see is the speed breakers. The car doesn't produce any noise. I think the work has been done thoroughly. Okay, the car has gone for RTA passing. Let's see what are the outcomes. whether it passes or fails. So yesterday we took the car for passing, but it didn't clear the passing for one tiny issue, and that is this light which is illuminating the number plate. It was fused, so they told to change the bulbs and come. So here are the bulbs which we have bought, and we will check. We have already removed the holder over here. This holder is yet to be removed, so we will put the new bulb and check what is the status of the bulb. So it is lighting up, you can see. So it didn't work. Let's pull it back out. The connectors are loose, so we'll have to do some arrangement, fix this holder, and then again redo the passing for today, and hopefully the car passes out. Let's check. So we will use the very quick CW instant bonding kit to fix the holders which are broken. One piece is already missing, but it can get the job done to fix into the holder in the car. So let's get on with it. Okay, so I've come to pass my car back again with my number plate light fixed. So let's go inside and check if they pass my car or not. So the car has passed the RTA test and it's all ready to be driven on UAE roads. Thanks for watching. Peace.